This is Amazing Spider-Man issue number 13, and this story is just so much fun. It's got a lot of great moments, but there are 3 that I want to go over today. The first one's a callback to an older Spidey story. Then there's a moment where MJ defends her work. But best of all, it's got the return of a certain someone who might have been responsible for some of the weirdest Spidey stories ever told. We start off with MJ being interviewed on J. Jonah Jameson's Just the Facts show, and then, while doing so, he frees Jameson from his bonds. Meanwhile, Miles runs into Tarantula himself. Now, the fight between these two doesn't last long. In fact, it ends pretty quickly because it turns out that Tarantula's suit has a cloaking function. Tinkerer used the broadcast van to cloak the thugs, but when I questioned them, I asked specifically about the cloaking tech. Tinkerer only made one, and then later, both him and Miles thank her for helping them out. Honestly, I think she deserves it. She was smart and quick-witted. She helped the team out and saved the day. So yeah, she deserves some recognition. Also, I just want to say that I really like the art in this issue. Like, look at this panel. There's just a lot going on here. Like, check out the lighting effects. Look at the details in Peter's costume. The black ink outlining everything. It's just really nice to look at. The artists really brought their A-game this issue, and I appreciate it. So when your spider senses were tingling, I knew. I love the interactions between the characters, especially between MJ and Miles. I always appreciate that. See you next time. It's just a good time. Plus, I love the callbacks to past events. Seeing Peter remember Spider-Geddon and act like it happened is pretty cool. And then there's the return of the Spider-Man villain, Tarantula. I'm not sure how I feel about him. Like, he's definitely a physically imposing threat, but he's not that interesting. I mean, I guess his cloaking tech is pretty neat, but other than that, I don't really care about him. I hope they do more with him, though. I feel like he could be pretty cool if they try. Then she adds, I'm a reporter. Remember? After hearing that, Miles gives her a thumbs up. I love their interactions. They're so adorable together. And when he uses it, it completely hides him from view. Miles can't see him anymore. Now, this is a big advantage, especially in a battle against... Now, she's here to defend her book on Sim Korea, which isn't selling well. Remember how you said the signal jammer was in the broadcast van? So apparently, MJ noticed that the henchmen were using the same cloaking tech, so when she was questioning them earlier, she asked about that. This is another good example of how the series is incorporating MJ as one of the love interests. It shows that the characters remember that she's a reporter. Oftentimes in the past, MJ has been depicted as a photographer, which isn't really a good fit for me. I mean, I understand why they would do it. A photographer can be more involved in the action, but a reporter makes a lot more sense given what Peter's job is. Besides, MJ is a great reporter. Like in the comic, she was able to deduce that Norman Osborn had connections to the underworld. She even wrote an article about it. Of course, it was called a conspiracy theory, but still, she managed to connect a bunch of dots that most people wouldn't have seen. So yeah, MJ as a reporter makes a lot more sense. It makes sense because the character has been around since the very beginning, but it's nice to see them explore that relationship further. So he uses this knowledge to get close enough to grab onto Tarantula and then deliver the final blows. So yeah, teamwork makes the dream work. She's doing okay at first. Like, she even gets a little clap at the end of the interview. Apparently, Tarantula was about to rob the place. Turns out he was using a remote signal jam on the TV broadcast to disable the Spider-Man-esque communicators. He says, I fought alongside you and Now, you might think that's not that interesting, right? After all, Spider-Geddon is a massive crossover. That happened way back in 2018. We were talking across multiple Spidey titles and even into other titles like Venom. It was a big deal, but it ended up not really mattering. Why is that? Well, it's because of the whole Spider-Geddon was never a thing trope that came about after the event. You see, after such a big event, there's usually some lingering effects in the universe. Something changes. But with Spider-Geddon, nothing changed at all. So writers started to claim that it never happened. It's kind of like a continuity error. But this, Peter Parker remembering that event and acting like it happened is pretty cool. It actually confirms that the event did happen in the universe, even if no one else remembers it. It's nice to finally get some concrete proof. He was also going to take Jameson hostage, though I'm not sure why. Anyway, after the Spider-Men arrive, They team up to take down Tarantula and his goons. But then, things take a turn when Jameson mentions the fact that it's not selling. Books aren't the bugle, MJ. If it's not selling, it ain't making waves. MJ rebounds by saying lack of sexiness not exactly selling some career. That's like a pretty solid comeback. I'm giving her points for that. Now, if you've read my other reviews, you'll know that. I think it's interesting how this series has incorporated canonically MJ as one of the love interests. But suddenly, Spider-Man crashed through the studio ceiling. Now, during the fight, Peter says something interesting. After Peter says that, he takes out the last of Tarantula's goons. As Tarantula is about to strike the final blow, Miles says, "Wait, Tinkerer wasn't the only one with that tech." So, because of MJ's line of questioning, Miles now knows that the tech is cloaking based off of body heat. When the dust settles, Miles looks over at MJ and asks, "Magic? Are we really doing magic?" She replies by saying, "Nope." Now, after the fight, Peter comes over and gives her a hug. So yeah, overall, this is a really fun issue to read. If you enjoyed this review, please leave a like or comment.